we are speaking with each other for what, after 2 years? I think the first time we chatted with each other was actually via mail for like a joint interview about Keijo's like little kid actors and where they are now. And now, then it was Comedy Circus, and now we're actually doing a Amne Samne interview. I mean, I'm just so happy to see you.
Right. I'm so happy to see you too. I mean, it's so crazy that it took a pandemic for all of us to get on Zoom and talk one-on-one like this. Otherwise, we've all been talking on emails and WhatsApps and audio messages, and I don't even know why.
Yeah.
Like, this is so much nicer. It's so much more conversational when you can see each other and do an interview.
Exactly. It's like the world has come a lot closer. I think that's one thing that, if anything, that 2020 has done, it's kind of brought
But
us more closer, right?
yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, at the end of the day, it's the first time something has happened where we are all actually in it together and we have no choice but to realize that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, to be honest, we are always in it together, but we don't see that perception very, very often.
Yes, absolutely. 2020, as we said, it's been a very catastrophic year, I think, for many of us.
Right.
But the good thing is that
Right.
you, Shahir, Rashmi, are set, and Palash, of course, not forgetting Palash, we cannot forget Palash as well, are set to
Yes.
sort
Of
of.
course, we cannot forget the only person whose music video this is of.
I know. He's gonna be watching this video and thinking
If
like,
this
"Bit of-"
music video belongs to anybody, it belongs to Palash, right?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So you're set to sort of close 2020 with Ab Kya Jaan Legi Meri. So tell me, how was your experience with
Right.
collaborating with all of these guys for the video?
It's actually been lovely. So I worked with Rashmi on Nachbali almost 5 years ago. So I have worked with Rashmi before, and Palash and I have almost been in talks with wanting to do something together for almost a year now. But I was in LA, and then COVID happened, and nothing really worked out. But we've been in touch about at least a year or more, trying to make something happen. And then we're so excited that finally something did come together for all of us. And Shahid was a great experience working with him. He's a really, really sweet person. What a doll of a personality. And yeah, it was great fun. And everybody knows I love dancing.
Yeah.
So I had a ball of a time.
Yes. A lot of the Rushmians are very excited, I think, to see the music videos as well. So what was your collaboration like with Rushmi again after Nach Baliya? Because Nach Baliya was a very different time for you and a very different
Right,
circumstances for you and for Rashmi as well, actually.
right,
So obviously,
right,
sort of
right.
collaborating with her on this sort of level after you guys have sort of gone through various life experiences, how was that for you?
Oh, it was really nice. I mean, it never really felt like we were working after so many years because, once you have recognition and once you know each other and you've worked, I mean, there's a certain sense of comfort that you always have with your fellow co-stars that you have worked with. And it's always nice to work with people. Like, I always really enjoy being able to work with people that I have already worked with in the past. Like, it's more enjoyable. There's a certain sense of comfort. And I feel like that was definitely there with Rashmi, but I would not say it was any different with actually Palash or Shahir because it was my first time with both of them. But Palash is also like adorable. He has a lovely personality, and so does Shahir. Like, he's so sweet also. So I think like four of us were like really chilled out and we were really enjoying ourselves.
That's good. That's good. No, I think you're right, actually. I think once you just
Yeah.
get on with people, when you're working with them, I think it definitely does have a very smooth journey, and I do get that as well. But I think the last time we spoke, Sana, it was for Comedy Circus. After which
Right.
you kind of
I
did.
mean, we also, because we have even spoken before, there's a certain sense of comfort in even us talking right now. So
Yeah.
it's literally just that.
Yes, it's that sense of familiarity. I get it, totally get it. But I think moving on, the last time we spoke was
Yes,
for
yes, yeah.
Comedy Circus, after which you did Kitchen Champions, and I believe you did Khato Ke Khiladi. And so, what has been keeping you
Yeah.
busy since then?
Oh, so basically, I've been in and out of LA, I think, the last 2 years because after I finished Comedy Circus, I did leave for LA. I was judging a couple of events in US, around US. So almost 2019, I was there, and then in 2020, I judge a style show for MTV called MTV Style Superstar,
Mm.
and so I was kind of judging that, and I was back and forth. So I was going to the US, and I was doing my stuff there, and I was back here shooting for my own show of MTV here. So I feel like 2019 kind of went in that, and then we all know what happened in 2020.
Itihas gawah hai, as they say, in Hindi.
Exactly. It's almost like when we talk about it, we're talking about 1 year ago what we all did, and then we straight come to today. Like nobody's talking about what we did in the middle because everybody did the same thing.
Yeah, you're right. It's literally become a big blur. I remember when we spoke as well for Comedy Circus, you did tell me that you were doing like an Amazon
Right.
Prime series, right? So have you kind of completed that?
Oh yeah. So we did complete that too. I'm guessing it will be in process of coming online sometime soon, but we don't know exactly what the dates are. But we've definitely finished shooting for that. Yeah.
Are you allowed to tell us a bit more about that, or you have to keep it hush hush?
Oh, I can't. I mean, you never really can say anything about anything till it's really out there. So not really, but of course I'm really excited. I mean, it's always exciting to be a part of, an OTT platform, and Bombay is buzzing right now with a lot of other things that are happening, which I have also just come back and, figured out that there are way many OTT platforms than I even heard 2 years back when I left for LA. So it's quite an exciting, I think 2021 is going to be quite an exciting year on the digital platform for sure.
Right. Yes, definitely. I think moving on and speaking a bit more about you, Sana, I think Student of the Year was basically your debut as
Yeah.
an adult actor, so to speak, on the big screen. What were
Right.
your expectations of
Right.
that film? Did life or the opportunities you got, did it kind of live up to those expectations that you had shortly after Student of the Year?
You know what? Ever since I actually did Student of the Year, I did a couple of stuff. I did things like, of course, I did Jhalak and Nach Baliye and Fear Factor and Comedy Circus. But I have been in and out of LA for almost the last 4 years because I was in LA studying for acting and filmmaking. And then I came back briefly for a couple of months, and then I moved again for the next 2 years. So I've literally actually not been in Bombay for the last 4 years.
Right.
So everything that I'm doing, actually, I come back to Bombay, I travel a bit, like if I'm coming to see family and, stuff like that. And MTV Style Superstar is a property that I've been judging from the first season. So I did come back for the second season as well because I was judging the show. But apart from that, I've actually been studying and I've been away just exploring and, doing life in general.
Lovely. No, I think that's all well and good. And I remember you did mention that actually when we spoke as well last. But I think again, I think
right.
Whenever we have a conversation, I think कुछ होता है का जिक्र ना हो वो ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता है. But don't worry, I'm not going to ask you all the sort of questions that you've been bombarded with since you were like 7,
right.
5, however old you were when you did the film. But
I feel like for my whole life.
Yeah, exactly. But obviously, because it was such an iconic film, and it must have been quite tough though, moving on from Anjali. I know you were at a very young age at the time, but how did you kind of distinguish yourself from between being Anjali and Sana? Like, how did you find that whole identity process in terms of distinguishing between those two characters, so to speak?
The really cool part actually about this whole thing, and I keep saying this time and time again, that my parents had a very great balance between what I was doing as a child and having a regular childhood. So even when I was growing up and I was always shooting and, I was working in ads and movies and stuff like that, for me, it was almost conveyed to me like it's a hobby. So the comparison for me was, if my friends are going to play throw ball or basketball, I'm going for a shoot. It's a hobby. So considering that, it was always very important for me to be at school. It was always important for me to be studying. And I just feel like because of that fine line that had always been created, I had a very regular childhood. I was always Sana. I was always Sana first. And with some recognition that as a child I didn't understand, but I was always treated as a very regular baby at home, like a regular, just like the other daughters were treated, I was treated. My friends always treated me the same because I didn't come from a space of mind that I'm doing something special or something bigger than anybody else's. For me, it was like, oh, you're playing basketball and I'm going for shooting. So what is the big deal? We just have a different kind of hobby that we each are pursuing. So I feel that that kind of always maintained my identity with Sana first and, whatever name later. And I only understand the importance of Anjali today in my career. Like now I understand the love and the respect and the appreciation, because now I can soak it all in, because I'm grown up enough to understand what a huge opportunity it was for a child that never even asked for it, actually, right? Because as adults we want so many things. As children we just want to have fun and chill. Like we don't really want that role or that movie or a certain title.
True.
So of course, like, it only makes me feel very humble today that something that I would pursue so much later in my life as a career option came to me in my childhood so easily. So it only humbles me. And of course, I feel great respect for the fact that I had, my career started with the best names in the industry even today. And it's a beautiful feeling. It's amazing feeling. But I definitely feel that and understand that today. So the identity has always been Sana. It's always been me first.
Wow. No, very well said, actually. And but I think because you did begin with such big names in such a big iconic film, do you kind of feel like it kind of also gave a bit of expectations to you, a bit of hope that, oh my God, maybe I can also kind of like make it big in Bollywood too? Was there ever that sort of expectations on you as well? Because I know you were young at the time, but then when you think about it now, did it kind of does that ever come to play at all in your mind?
No, I mean, of course, if I speak about back then, of course not, because I was too little to understand what was actually going on. The only real experience I have about it is that it was a lot of fun. And even as an adult, eventually, when I decided to pursue acting as a career, I only went back to it because I was like, but it was a lot of fun doing that as a child. I remember having a lot of fun. So maybe let me give this a shot. So I didn't start off again knowing that this is who I'm going to be and this is what I'm going to do with my life. Because, I did my graduation. I did an advertising diploma, advanced diploma in advertising and marketing. Like I was studying just like everybody else and trying to figure my life and my career by that age, And then eventually when I couldn't understand a lot of things, I was like, that was a lot of fun back then. So let me try and attempt that again. And I feel like because it came from that, the inhibitions about my professional career were always very like, I'm going to just have a lot of fun and do something I really love to do, And I feel like making it is just a matter of perception and time, or even persistence. I don't feel like it's got anything to have a timeline, whether you make it or you don't. Like I never wanted to make it as a child, but I technically must have made it for some other people. You know what I mean? Yes. But for me, it's just about constantly pursuing something that you love to do, and the understanding that I have an opportunity to keep doing that every single day of my life and keep doing it. And I feel like that is successful in itself. Somebody else's idea of success should not cater to how I feel about what I do.
Yes, no, absolutely. I think that's again a very, very apt point as well. You were speaking of time and stuff, but if you could go back in time and if you revisited that little young Sana, what would you say to her in terms of advice or anything? What would you say to her?
Oh my God, I tell her to soak it all in. I would really tell her to soak it all in. And I think I did, because that's exactly what children do,
Yeah.
They soaked everything in, and they're really enjoying each moment of their life. And I really think I did, but it's me by Anjali, and I couldn't understand what the hell I was doing on everybody's screen because it was so bizarre to me. I was almost like, don't call me Anjali. Like, you know, when I was very
Yeah.
little, I
Yeah.
had that. I feel at one point when I was growing up, I just felt like I don't really know what they're talking about or why they keep calling me with this name. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I didn't understand the passion adults or children had towards what I had done. Because for me, it was just like I just did something in my life and it was a whole lot of fun. And that's great. But why do people keep talking about it? That's what I said. Like, I understand that today and I feel so grateful. I feel so humbled by the opportunity. But growing up, I really didn't. So I feel like that little phase of growing up where I had a little embarrassment period where I just wanted to run away from anybody that called me Anjali. I feel like I would just tell myself, like, babe, like, you're going to enjoy this for the rest of your life. So just soak it all in.
Yeah, that's true actually. And it's obviously given you a major part of your identity too. I think that's something that one can never deny, right?
Right, right. No, for sure, for
Mhm.
sure. I mean, I just feel like, you know, some people say, like, you know, like when people are confused today, and, you know, a lot of times that when I'm looking up something or reading something, it tells you, like, you know, if you don't know what to do with your life, you should think about what you love doing as a child and pursue that. And I understand what that means. I completely understand what that means. It's just that my opportunity just is so in your face that you understand that with me. But I feel like this is something that happens to me, mostly all of us, that we all have something growing up that we enjoy thoroughly, and that we should continue doing that because we're the most pure form of executing our talents when we're babies, you know.
Mm. Yes, yes, definitely. What would you say are the major plus points about you as a person, and how do you think those positive aspects have translated towards your attitude and towards your approach as an actor?
I definitely think that I'm a very positive person by nature. I genuinely, I'm very positive about life, about situations. I feel like I personally feel that my favorite quality about me is that I really can find the good in a good situation and in a bad situation.
Hmm.
Like, I know that there are two sides to everything, and there has to be something good. And somehow, because my personality is like that, maybe, you know, life kind of teaches you so many things, and you become flexible about life. You know, you understand that if life was just good, it would be boring, you know, then we wouldn't have our highs and lows. And if life was just bad, then that would also suck for all of us. But I just feel like we can appreciate the fact that things cannot go according to what we wanted to, but there's always a good that comes out in it. Like even in the middle of a pandemic, I feel, yeah, but like so much time with family, so much personal time, we can do so much time with our health, we can, you know, connect with nature, we can learn something new, we can connect with friends, like, you know, or we can appreciate what a hug feels like, what kissing your friend really feels like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just feel like that's a part of my personality that really keeps me going in every situation, because I'm just not demotivated by anything. Like, everything kind of makes me feel like, oh, I don't like that so much, but it's okay. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you know, like, something good will come out of this, or there's something better in store. Why this never worked out, you know? So I feel like I have a certain appreciation quality which really works in my favor, whether it comes to relationships or, you know, myself or my work or anything like that.
Mm, yes, absolutely. I think positivity is always the way forward. I mean, it's all well and said. I say that all the time, but honestly, like, I wish I could have half the optimism that you have, Sana. I think it goes a long way, especially in the sort of day and age that we're living in, you know?
I'm losing you again.
I was just saying that,
I've lost you again.
so I was basically just saying that I wish I could have half the optimism that you had, you know?
But you know, we all have to. I feel like it's not something you're born with. It's something that you can develop over time. It's like a muscle that you can build over time, where you can learn to take the good with the bad. And I don't think I was born like that. I feel like just observing life has taught me that after the bad, the good always comes in. And after the good, things kind of shift and change is inevitable. So if I'm not going to be accepting towards it, I'm always going to be suffering. So the better thing to do is to be excited about it, that, okay, things have gone completely wrong. I'm just going to laugh about this because this was not my plan. But eventually, this will be over and something better will always come around. Because I'm sure if we all look back, we've all had that in life. We've had periods that we've, not liked what things have laid out in front of us. And we've been extremely excited in moments in our life. So I feel like it's really, really something that we can all work on. And it's just, I think it's a quality that if we all can work on and have, then we will all really learn to enjoy life. Because, we're here to enjoy life after all. We're not here to go to a job and come home and make money and get married and do what the society has taught humans to do. We're here to really soak it in and live a good life and have fun and enjoy the beautiful nature and everything that life offers us. So if we can just all work on being positive and looking at the good side of it, I think we'll all be much happier people.
Yes, definitely. So television has played a big role, I think, in your acting career, and you've been a part of some big shows. What would you say has been the biggest learning for you throughout your stint in television?
I think the show Fear Factor has been one of my greatest, my most wildest experience, but of course, one of my greatest experiences, because for the first time, like, I felt that maybe I would fall short. Maybe I was not good enough to compete in a show like that. Like a pure sense of being able to, of underestimating yourself, because that is something that I've never learned to do. Like, I've been lucky to have a mother that has always been very motivating and very she's instilled a lot of confidence in us growing up. I feel she's always been like, my daughters are the best. So we've always grown up thinking like we can do anything and we're the best. But I really felt when I was going to take up a show like that, that I wasn't good enough for this show. Like, I would possibly fall short. Like, maybe I was not strong enough. I didn't have the skills for a show like Fear Factor. Maybe I was just, somebody that got scared of insects and I would not be able to perform at par. And doing that show just taught me like how much we underestimate who we actually are, because I landed up being the first runner-up of that show. Yeah. And that was as surprising for me than it was for anybody else. But every time I won a task and every time I did well, I kept outdoing my own expectations of myself.
Yes.
And for me, that was just what we're made of. Like, it just, because I know that the only thing that I did before a task, it's not because I was stronger. There were people that were stronger than me, faster than me, better swimmers. There was like, everybody around looked like this great circle of competition, because I'm also very thin and petite in the middle of all of this. Like, I felt so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But the fact that I got so far, one, of course, I learned a lot about myself. I just learned that, it's always mind over matter. It doesn't have to do anything with what's on the outside or what's going on. It's everything to do with how much you can kind of get yourself together and you can kind of expect from yourself. And I would always get into a task telling myself that you're going to kill it. Like, you're going to be amazing. You're going to give the best shot. And I would actually come out doing well. That means what can self-talk or just motivating yourself, actually, what your words can actually do for you, So I feel like that was a great learning experience for me. And I became very fearless after that show, not in a physical way, of course, in a physical way also, because I was less scared of like heights or, insects or stuff like that. But on a mental level, I was fearless because I knew that I was the one underestimating myself and that I was stronger than that. And that it was almost like, it was like a math paper for me. Like, if you get an 80 or a 90 and 100, you're like, oh, I'm a great student. If you get like a 40 on 100, you'll be like, I'm a bad student. But you could just be a really good student having a bad day. But we kind of like make ourselves believe that we're not good enough, or we're not, we're not like amazing at something. But it's a mind game after all. It's got everything to do with what you tell yourself. And that changed, I feel like that changed my whole perception towards life in the later years.
You've been a part of all the big reality shows. You've done Nach Baliye, Jhalak, you've done Khatron Ke Khiladi. I've got to ask you, would you ever consider doing Bigg Boss? Ever?
I don't know.
That reaction says it all.
I really don't know. I mean, I can never say never. You know what I mean? But I really, really don't know. So one of the things that I always consider before even before I take up a reality show is that what skill set can I add to who I already am? And of course, when I did Jhalak, it was like, no one's going to teach me dance the way these people are going to teach me in the next 4 to 6 months, So this was an opportunity to do a crash course and grow. And similarly, when I did Nach Baliye, it was, dance. Stage performance kind of teaches you so much. It teaches you so much about life in general, criticism, competition, healthy competition, accepting that other people can be better than you, or that you can also be better than yourself on certain days. So I always feel like there's certain shows that teach you something. Fear Factor, just like I said, I felt like I did it also because I was like, what am I so afraid of? What's the worst that can happen? I lose. What is the worst that can happen? That I don't do well, that I back out of a task, that I chicken out. Okay. That's the worst that can happen. So of course, like for me, like comedy, like I had never done comedy before. And for me, Comedy Circus was huge because I was getting to perform with real life great comedians that were doing so well in our industry today. And I was like, whoa, what an opportunity to share stage with somebody that's an expert at it, how much can I take from that? There's so much I can learn from that. But that's what, like, when it comes to a show like that, like I always wonder, like, what am I going to really take home from it? And that's a very confusing question to me, because I do feel it's a very stressful show. I feel like people who are inside are extremely mentally strong and extremely can pull through a lot of difficult situations, because I've had a couple of friends that have done the show and I've heard their experiences personally, and it doesn't sound like an easy show at all. So definitely I'd never say never to it, but it does like freak me out a little bit, because I do feel the show is mentally very stressful. So you never know, maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't, I don't know.
Friends into the Bigg Boss house, actually. Like I believe you were, I think Siddharth and you were in the same season of Khatron together. Obviously you and Rashmi have worked together in Nach Baliye, and now obviously the music video. And you and Karishma as well have been together in Jhalak Dikh Raja, I believe, at that time. So have they ever like sort of...
Karishma and I have been in Nach Baliye, I think. Karishma was there with me in Nach Baliye.
Was it Nach Baliye? Okay, it was Nach Baliye. Okay, I got the dance part right. So that's
yeah.
So,
no, we didn't do the same season of Jhalak. No.
You didn't do the same season of Jhalak. Okay, right. So the fact that obviously you have, like you said, people already who have gone in, have they ever spoken to you about their experiences? I mean, how did you feel about hearing their reactions? I mean, especially Rashmi or recent as well, because she's done very well for herself since she's come out too.
Of course, Rashmi has been we're not personally discuss her Bigg Boss journey with her, but I know Tanaz and Tanaz Irani really well, and she did a couple of years. She did a season for Bigg Boss, and her husband Bakhtiar had done it, and that was around the time I think when I did Fear Factor, and I was thinking in my head, like, would I be considering it? Would I do it? And I kind of try to find out from her what is going on and how are things, and like I did understand that it was cool. Like it's one to be upset on screen, but it's another thing when you're upset and you're on camera, right? Like the world is watching you and you are so upset right now. So I feel like it's a very vulnerable place to be in. And a lot of us are control freaks and we're not sure if we want to show that side of our personality. So I definitely feel that it's a very bold move for actors that actually consider Big Boss that they're, and maybe that's a good quality, like, but it is definitely challenging to be so vulnerable every day. It's not like you and I can possibly be vulnerable on a maybe a day, and some days not, and then have a vulnerable moment someday. But now you're like 4 months in front of camera. There's no hiding. There is no doing anything that the world is not watching you do. So I definitely feel that it's quite a stressful, on a human level, it's a very stressful situation to be in.
Right. Yes, definitely. But I think you're very strong-willed. So if you ever do go in, I'll definitely be watching out for you. Oh my God, I feel like I'm actually I feel like I'm gearing you up for Big Boss. What is going on?
You really are. You're just like, but I would root for you. But I think you'll be good. But you should consider.
No, but I think just aside from Big Boss, I do think you're a very strong girl, and I think you are very, you're very wise, and I think that's something that is very good about you as a person as well. But I know obviously nowadays, making plans is much harder than it used to ever be, because of the fact that we're living in such a fragile and unprecedented time as well. But what are your future goals in terms as an actor, in terms as a person? What are you sort of hoping to achieve now, in both professionally and personally?
I mean, to be honest, the goal is the same, and I'm going to keep doing it persistently. The goal is to continue to do things that I really love to do, and over the years, I have grown far more confident with the fact that I do love acting a lot. Initially it was almost like, maybe I'll be good at it. Maybe I should do this. Maybe this is what I'm good at, right? Most of us have this big question. But I feel like since I went to, LA to study, and I've had this exposure of traveling and being around people and working, I've also grown confident understanding that this is really what I love to do. And this is really what my whole heart can be involved in doing. And I just work and keep having a lot of fun with my life. Most important thing is that at the same time, we're doing life. And it's very important for us to do life and be happy doing life. And I feel fortunate that what I get to do helps me enjoy life. I'm a really happy person on set. If anybody's worked with me, they'll be like, what are you on? Why are you so happy and so excited all the time? But I'm just like, I just love being here. I just love doing what I'm doing, So I just feel like I'm fortunate enough to just not get into a rut where I treat it like work. It's literally fun for me. I would do this whether you paid me for it or not. I love doing this. And I feel like that is the most important thing as humans, as people who want to be professionals or want to, achieve whatever goal and stuff in their life. The goal should always be to be happy and to be in love every day with what you do. And if that's not your work, then you need to find something else that you love doing. I feel like it's very, very important for us to have a goal of being happy and in love with what we do. Then you can be successful, and you can be rich, and you can be famous, and you can be all other things after that,
Yes, absolutely. And I don't think there can be a more better way to sort of again summarize that and give that sort of advice to people too, especially watching this. But on a final note, Sana, what would you like to say about Ab Kya Jaan Legi Meri? मतलब तुम तो मेरी जान तो ले ही चुकी हो बहुत बार. But besides that, what would you like to say about the music video to the viewers who are set to watch it on Christmas Eve?
I hope everyone's going to really enjoy it. I'm very excited. This is my first music video also. I think if I really go to say my first music video when I was 3 years old, I did 2 music videos when I was between the age of 3 and 5. And after that, now I'm doing a music video. So it's really exciting for me to be a part of a really fun project. And, you know, of course, I'm working with these amazing people in our industry that are doing so well for themselves. And I think like people are going to really enjoy it. And it's a dancey number. It's a fun number. It's very chilled out. It's not emotional or romantic. It's just like you can put it on and have a party by yourself in the house. So I'm just excited for everybody to watch it and to see like what everybody feels about it.
Do you know when you said I did a music video when I was young and when I was a kid, or like when I was like 5 or 7, I was like, oh my god, this reminded me of Jugni Jugni from
Yeah.
Badal. Do you remember Jugni Jugni?
Oh my god. But you do you know even that was when I was like about 10 years old. I did music videos when I was like 3 years old. It's
Oh,
insane.
wow. Well, I think on that note,
Like before even I did Kuch Kuch Hota, I had done these music videos.
oh wow, never realized
Yeah.
that. I think
Yeah.
that's actually huge. But Sana, I think on that note, I just wanted to say a huge thank you for joining me for this wonderful conversation. It's always such a pleasure to catch up with you, and I'm just so glad that we could finally do our first video interview, and hopefully there'll be many more as well.
I know. Yes, of course, of course. I'm going to see a whole lot of you. And I'm literally going to see a whole lot of you now, even if you're sitting in London.
Yes, absolutely. But dear, wish you all the very best for Ab Kya Jaan Legi Meri, and of course the upcoming projects, and can't wait to catch up with you super duper soon.
Thank you so much, Anuj. Thank you so much for having me. Lots and lots of love.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, bye.